The phone trembled in my hand, its cold glass biting into my palm as her words sliced through the static. "You're not sleeping with me tonight. I'm not coming home." The air in our cramped apartment turned sour, like milk left too long in the fridge. I stood frozen in the kitchen, the hum of the fluorescent bulb overhead drilling into my skull. My reflection stared back from the darkened window, eyes hollow, jaw tight, a man unraveling. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight, each second a hammer strike to my chest. Where was she? Why those words spat with such venom? I sank into a chair, the wood creaking under my weight, and replayed her voice, searching for clues in its jagged edges. We'd been married 7 years, Lena and I. 7 years of shared coffee mugs, late-night laughter, and promises whispered under starlit skies. But lately, her smiles had grown thin, her eyes darting away when I asked about her day. I'd chalked it up to stress. Her new job at the law firm demanded long hours, endless meetings. I'd ignored the lipstick smudge on her collar last week, the faint musk of unfamiliar cologne clinging to her coat. Rationalizations came easy. She was busy, distracted, not herself. But now, her voice echoed in my head, sharp and final, and those small, ignored signs began to pulse like warning lights. I dialed her again. Voicemail. The robotic greeting mocked me, her name sounding foreign in its flat tone. My thumb hovered over the call button, but instead, I opened her texts. The last message she'd sent was at 6:43 p.m. "Running late, don't wait up." I scrolled up, searching for something. Anything. A missed call from an unknown number 3 days ago. A vague text from someone named Chris last month. "Meet me at 8. I'd seen it before, assumed it was a coworker. Now it burned into my retinas, a question mark with teeth. The apartment felt too small, the walls pressing in like a vice. I grabbed my keys, my coat, and stumbled into the night. The city was alive with neon and noise, car horns blaring, the distant wail of a siren. I walked, not knowing where, my breath fogging in the November chill. My mind churned, replaying every moment of the past few months. The way she'd started locking her phone, claiming it was work policy. The late nights she'd blamed on case files. The way she'd flinched when I touched her shoulder last night, her body a coiled spring. I found myself outside the Blue Haven, a bar she'd mentioned once months ago in passing. Its sign flickered, casting a sickly glow on the cracked sidewalk. I didn't know why I was there, only that my feet had carried me, driven by some primal instinct. The door creaked as I pushed it open, the air inside thick with cigarette smoke and the tang of cheap whiskey. A handful of patrons hunched over tables, their faces shadowed. I scanned the room, my heart a drumbeat in my throat. She wasn't there. Of course she wasn't. But as I turned to leave, a laugh, low, throaty, unmistakably hers, cut through the din. It came from a booth in the corner, half hidden by a sagging curtain. My legs moved before my brain could catch up, each step heavier than the last. I parted the curtain, and there she was, Lena, her dark hair spilling over her shoulders, her hand resting on a man's arm. He was lean, sharp-jawed, his smile too easy, too intimate. Their heads were close, her lips curved in a way I hadn't seen in months. "Lena?" My voice cracked, barely a whisper. Her head snapped up, eyes wide, the color draining from her face. "Mark," she said, her voice a mix of shock and something else, guilt? Defiance? The man beside her straightened, his hand sliding off hers like a snake retreating. "What's this?" I asked, my voice louder now, trembling with a rage I didn't know I could feel. The bar seemed to shrink, the other patrons fading into a blur. "It's not what you think," she said too quickly, her hands fluttering to the table. Her wedding ring glinted under the dim light, a cruel irony. "Then what is it?" I stepped closer, my fists clenching. "You said you're not coming home. You said." My throat tightened, choking the words. The man, Chris, I assumed, stood, his chair scraping the floor. "Hey man, let's calm down," he said, his voice smooth, practiced. "We're just talking." Talking. I spat, my eyes locked on Lena. "Is that why you've been lying? Why you've been dodging me, locking your phone, coming home late smelling like him?" Her lips parted, but no words came. Her silence was louder than any confession. I wanted her to deny it, to laugh it off, to tell me I was paranoid. But her eyes, those eyes I'd fallen in love with, held only a fractured kind of sorrow. Mark, I didn't mean for this to happen, she said finally, her voice small. It just did. The words landed like a punch, stealing my breath. I staggered back, the room tilting. How long? I asked, my voice raw. How long have you been sneaking around? She looked away, her fingers twisting the edge of her napkin. A few months, she whispered. Months. Not days, not weeks. Months of lies, of stolen moments. Of her choosing someone else while I waited at home. Cooking dinners she never ate, planning a future she'd already abandoned. The betrayal wasn't just in her words. It was in every memory I'd trusted, now tainted. Why? I asked, hating how desperate I sounded. Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? It's not about you, she said, her voice breaking. It's me. I got lost, Mark. The job, the pressure. I didn't know how to handle it. And he helped you handle it? I gestured at Chris, who stood silent, his eyes darting between us like a cornered animal. Don't, she said, her voice sharper now. Don't make this about him. It's about us. About how we stopped talking, how we stopped seeing each other. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. So this is my fault? I'm the one who pushed you into his arms. No, she said, tears spilling down her cheeks. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I was weak, and I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. I wanted to scream, to flip the table, to demand answers that would make sense of the chaos in my chest. But all I could do was stare at her, at the woman I'd loved so fiercely, now a stranger wearing her face. The bar's noise crept back in. The clink of glasses, the murmur of voices, the distant hum of a jukebox. Life went on, oblivious to the wreckage of mine. Chris cleared his throat. I should go, he said, grabbing his jacket. Lena didn't stop him. He slipped past me, his shoulder brushing mine, and I fought the urge to shove him against the wall. When he was gone, Lena stood, her hands trembling. Mark, can we talk? Really talk? Talk? I echoed, my voice hollow. What's left to say? You've already decided, haven't you? She reached for me, but I stepped back, the space between us a chasm. I don't know what I want, she said. I just know I hurt you and I hate myself for it. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But the image of her hand on his arm, her laugh, her ease with him, it was burned into me. I turned and walked out, the cold air hitting me like a slap. The city pulsed around me, indifferent, as I wandered back to our apartment. The key scratched in the lock, the sound too loud in the quiet. Inside, her scent lingered, lavender and lies. I sat on the couch, staring at the framed photo on the coffee table. Us on our honeymoon, laughing on a beach, her arms around me, the sun setting behind us. I picked it up, my thumb tracing her smile. Could I forgive her? Could I rebuild trust from ashes? The questions clawed at me unanswered. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Lena. I'm coming home. We need to face this together. My heart lurched. Hope, fear, anger all tangled. I set the phone down, my hands shaking. She was coming back, but to what? To apologies, to promises, to a marriage already fractured? Or to something worse, a final goodbye? The door creaked open, and there she was, her eyes red, her coat clutched tight. Mark, she whispered, her voice a fragile thread. I stood, my heart pounding, unsure if I wanted to hold her, or let her go forever. The truth hung between us, sharp and unforgiving, and I knew nothing would ever be the same.